This is Cast of Wonders, the young adult fiction podcast featuring stories of the fantastic. Welcome, episode 513. I'm Catherine Inskip, your editor and host. Our story for today is Gone Red by Beverly Aarons, a Cast of Wonders original. Beverly Aarons is an award-winning writer exploring the intersections of history, hidden realities, and imagined future worlds. She's won the Guy A. Hanks, Marvin H. Miller Screenwriting Award, Community for Culture Fellowship and Creative Consultancies Awards, Artists Trust Gap Award, the Smart Ventures Grant, and was an Arts at King Street Station Artist in Residence. She currently writes for the South Seattle Emerald and is producing a play about the future of human migration. This story is narrated by Bria Struthers and Sean D. Sorrentino. Bria Struthers is an educator, amateur DJ, orator, and sonic storyteller based in the Bronx, New York. Their current work involves blending speculative prose with storytelling soundscapes, along with developing a Black mythological webcomic series. She holds a BA in English from George Mason University, as well as an MFA in creative writing from Pratt Institute. They have appeared in Apparition Literary Magazine, Midnight and Indigo Literary Journal, and Pratt Institute's physical publication, The Felt. You can follow her at fordarkfigures.com and on Twitter and Instagram at BeTheOrator. Sean D. Sorrentino lives in the Raleigh, North Carolina area with his wife and his dogs. There's a significant content warning for this episode. It contains multiple expletives right from the start, primarily the F word, used frequently but in character. The narrative also contains violence and systemic racism and inequality. And now, we've a tale to tell.
Gone Red by Beverly Aarons, narrated by Bria Struthers and Sean D. Sorrentino. South Seattle, Sunday, August 4th, 2080. 3 p.m. Glimmer Robinson. We done gone red and I don't give a fuck. I mean, I give a fuck that me and Moms and Papa and Lil Bo is out here on the road to the you're for sure fucked zone. But I don't give a fuck about going red. Going red means you still got a beating heart, and you ain't scared to let Zook know that you're pissed off, that you're angry and sad and disappointed and feeling whatever feels they say you ain't supposed to have under Zook's gray-ass skies. And so here we are, red, melting our souls on this hot-ass concrete for a whole day already. Me and Moms and Papa and Lil Bo and my neighbors, TJ, Callie, Miss Zena, Ray, and all of them I never did get a chance to know too much about. They on this road too. The whole district out here. About 200 folks, gone red and walking south on old Highway 5. Every thought is a prophet. Zukunft Azure.
North Seattle, Sunday, August 4th, 2080, 6 p.m., Oscar Hayes. A 10 by 10 grid of gray cubicles filled a warehouse-sized room, each the same. Each with no personal effects, no family photos or funny cartoons to decorate the metal walls that separate each worker. A single monitor on each particle board desk, a video feed flickering across the screens. Gray suit-clad workers perch on metal folding chairs, buttocks on edge, backs slanted forward. Unblinking eyes stared at the screen. Oscar Hayes, data miner number 1619, rolls his shoulders and gently massages his neck. Red dots on a map slowly trudge south on old Highway 5. He never sees their faces, only dots. Blue, green, yellow, orange, and the dreaded red. Data indicator alerts, a robotic computer voice says. A ticker scrolls across the bottom edge of the screen. Oscar presses his finger against it. The map of red dots is minimized by half. Nestled next to it is today's data triggers. Oscar reads them. Blue. Great day. It was good. Feel good. Nice. Love it. Of course. Got it covered. No problem. Let's buy it. Green. I'm okay. We're okay. It's all right. Maybe. Not today. Yellow. Not so good. Not feeling so great. It's not going to happen. It's not my problem. Orange. Why? Why do you want that? Why did that happen? Why should I care? Red. This isn't right. We deserve better. Do better. Rights. Wrongs. Justice. Daily data triggers always change. One day a trigger could be, I wash the dishes, and the next day it could be, bomb it. And either one could take you from green to blue or all the way from blue to red. Zuck claims that the algorithm can't be cracked, but sometimes when Oscar is scanning the data, he sees patterns. Certain kinds of words can put you in the orange-red category, while others will send you singing all the way to blue land. Oscar only contemplates these things when he's on the clock because that's the only time he's allowed to unplug his band. Oscar drops his fingers to the keyboard and presses Enter. A red dot map is minimized. A small icon appears in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, a nondescript person with a metal band strapped across their forehead. Band data extraction process, 35%. The computer voice is high-pitched and calm. But it's this part of the process that gets Oscar's blood pumping. The Data Privacy Act of 2030 requires that all aggregated band data be reviewed by a human, but Zuck requires that the reviewing is done at lightning speed. Band data extraction process, 85%. Oscar cracks his knuckles and takes a deep breath that he releases in a long sigh. He steadies his gaze on the screen. Band data extraction process complete. A stream of words and phrases scroll from the top of the screen to the bottom. Oscar scans the words as fast as he can, tagging combinations according to category. The algorithm always makes color-coded suggestions. Some Oscar accepts, while others he rejects. Tonight, Oscar is reviewing his first red district in 5 years, and the algorithm is quite bossy. It's going to be a long night.
Citizenship. Society becomes how you behave. Anonymous. South Seattle, Sunday, August 4th, 2080, 11 p.m. Glimmer Robinson. They didn't send the buses. Someone said they was supposed to send some buses and there ain't no fucking buses here. Feet swole real bad and my socks done gone red too from all the bleeding. Took a whole 5 minutes just to get my shoes off. Got till sunup to rest them, but I can't sleep a wink. Can't even close my eyes a minute for all the moaning, crying, screaming, and arguing. Ray say somebody knifed a lady and took her bag. Feels I got to keep a lookout just in case. If there was a way to go beyond red, this district would be there tonight. Mom spread her good blanket over 4 concrete stumps to make shelter. When the spotlights sweep over, I can just make out the purple flowers stitched into the cream fabric. Mom said she picked purple flowers every summer when she was growing up in a green district. I've never seen flowers in real life, only the ones Mom stitched. She was always stitching things for us with bits of fabric she found on the floor of the garment factory. Took her a whole year of savings to get a machine of her own. I wonder if she'll get a bit of time to do some stitching where we're going. Probably not. Never did meet nobody after they gone red anyway. But I heard many a story about what happens, where they go, where we go. Some of them stories I be wanting to believe so bad, like how you get to go somewhere far away from here and just relax, all your eating and drinking provided for, and all the nice, clean, and safe houses you ever wanted available for free just so you don't stay red. Ray say he knew somebody who knew somebody else who had gone red with her district a few years back. She walked the same highway to the calming zone. That's what they call them officially. And when she got there, there was a huge field of green grass surrounded by trees as tall as an apartment block. In the middle of it all was this humongous table with all kinds of food on it. Fried chicken, boiled eggs, sizzling hot bacon, homemade buttermilk biscuits, and all the sweets you can imagine. They was allowed to eat as much as they wanted, and when they was done, They each got their own little house in a private room with ice-cold air blowing inside. Of course, that just sounds too good to be true, so I've always been a bit skeptical of Ray's story. Why would they treat Red so good? Ray say because they just trying to calm the fires so people who gone red can return to the fold. Not sure if I really believe it, but I want to. But then there are other stories. Rumors. Not supposed to talk about it. Don't even like to think about it. But now that we're here, I got to think about it. Some say, people I respect, say that calming zones is where they put the troubled and the troublemakers. They say that the calming zones ain't about calming nobody. It's where people go and get completely cut off from everything. No more uploads to the band, so no more information about what you need is collected. But how can that be true? How will we get food and water and all the other stuff we need? How will they know what to give us to keep us alive? I don't know what to make of it. I never been without the band, so not sure what it would be like to live like that. But some know what it was like before Zook and the band, like Miss Zena. Miss Zena got to be like 100 years old, but she don't like telling folks her age. Mom says nobody can live to be over 70, so it can't be true. But however old she is, she definitely knows what it's like to live without Zook and the band. I hear that Miss Zena got put in our district because she kept taking her band off because she liked keeping some thoughts to herself. Heavy fines for doing that type of stuff. Miss Zena say when she was my age, there wasn't no band and nobody know your thoughts and your needs but you. Sounds like scary stuff. I mean, I don't like Zook none at all, but the band ain't all bad. What if something was off inside of you? Wouldn't you want someone to know about it? Sometimes you don't be knowing that something is wrong with you. That's why we got the band and the algorithm to help us stay healthy. But then again, there's stuff that just ain't right. Like them borders they like putting on our thinking. We all humans here. Even a loyal dog get angry if you kick him enough. I like to think of Miss Zena as a nice rich folks dog on the outside and a crazy fighting dog on the inside because she don't take no stuff from nobody. She was always sprinting around from her job at the garment factory to a whole bunch of different places around town, getting folks all red-faced about the latest that Zook done did to poor folks in the district. But when I seen her this morning, she was moving a lot slower, feet barely leaving the ground. Her gray hair matted to her scalp like she didn't get no chance to pick it out. She never did look up when I called her name. I know she's a bit hard of hearing, but I'm pretty sure she heard me. Seeing Miss Zena's light go dim like that just sunk my heart. Are you aware that you are in a moment of new understanding? Barbs.
North Seattle, Monday, August 5th, 2080, 6 p.m. Oscar Hayes. The black metal folding chair creaks as Oscar leans forward to get a closer look at the daily data triggers. Mostly big bright orange and red words on a large black monitor. Why is this happening to us? When is this going to end? This is wrong. This isn't right. Oscar lets out a tiny involuntary sigh. His shoulders tense. Where did that sigh come from? A small pool of sweat forms in his armpits. He spreads his arms a bit, allowing the cool air from the overhead vent to dry the stain he's sure is forming on his starchy press shirt. He's not supposed to care about reds or any of the barbs either. He shouldn't feel anything for the red dots, but sometimes he does wonder who they are. Resource balance required, the computer chimes in, interrupting Oscar's train of thought. The warning ticker scrolls across the bottom of the screen. Extraction consumption level imbalanced. Requires immediate attention. Oscar types something into the computer, and a small dialog box appears on the screen. Extraction 20. Consumption 100. Auto rebalance resources? OK, cancel. Oscar presses cancel and pulls up a small screen that overlays a map of red dots and daily data triggers. A colorful chart appears. Blue, green, yellow, orange, and red bar indicators jutting out from resource points such as food, water, fuel, medicine, and oxygen right below the column of numbers 0 to 100. To the left is a small dialog box labeled Work Reserve. Same colorful indicators and numbers. Work Reserve is in the red, a mere 20 on the scale of 100. Oscar takes a deep breath and slides his finger over the resource indicators. He only adjusts food and water resources from 80 to 50, right on the border between green and orange. Just a little tweak, Oscar says. Give those Reds a chance. Reform is the answer, not death.
South Seattle, Monday, August 5th, 2080, 11 p.m. Glimmer Robinson. Messina passed out today. We was just crossing over a live district where you could just make out folks working the big gardens. That's when Messina started swaying like a tall weed caught up in a strong breeze. Her arms stuck out from her body like she was trying to grasp something. She took just a few more steps forward before she collapsed. Good thing Papa was there to break her fall. If she had hit that concrete, she would have definitely shattered something. Zook guards didn't have a drop of caring in them. No sooner than Papa tried to wake Messina than them Zooks come running and barking orders to keep going. Papa pull out our blanket we've been using as a roof and lay Messina in it. He take one end while Ray take the other, and Messina looked like a brand new baby cradled in that blanket as they carried her for another good hour or two. I've been thinking, since we done started this march, Zook's been promising us buses, and every day they got a new excuse as to why no buses yet to be seen. Somebody asked them how long before we get to the calming zone, and they say another 2 days or so. Somebody asked them if they can at least give the elders a tent or a single bus, and they go on making more empty promises and offering more excuses. And then I went to pick up Messina's medicine, and they give me 2 instead of 1. Now they know better than me that Messina ain't gonna make it long without medicine, 'cause her sugar levels just ain't right, and ain't never been right since I known her. Maybe they ain't intending to keep Messina's sugar right so she can make it to the calming zone. And maybe there ain't no buses. Maybe there never was and never will be. I'm not sure what to make of any of it. I just don't think I can do this any longer. And I don't think the old ones and the youngins can either. I just can't walk another mile. My shoes done begun to wear down. And when the sun the hottest, I can feel the concrete heat burning my soles. And on that subject, I was busy bandaging my feet and fixing them holes in my shoes when Ray come over and sit next to me, real quiet like. At first I didn't realize he had come over at all, 'cause I'm used to him cracking some jokes or teasing me, and he didn't do that this time. Which was strange, 'cause Ray usually got a smile for me or got something funny or bright to say even in all of this. But that wasn't so today. Today he was really sad like. I tried to bring a little bit of sunshine to our corner of Highway 5 by telling him Messina was going to be fine and that we going to be ending this journey soon. But he just shook his head and say Messina not what he's worried about. He give me the most serious look. I never seen him so serious. Not since I met him when we was just little kids learning to thread needles and cut fabric at the garment factory. But there he was, mouth fixed into a serious expression as he told me what he heard about the real conditions of the calming zone. Unwanted dogs burning in a killing clinic is what I remember the most about what he said about the calming zone. That's what he said we going to, a place to die. We going to be worked to death, every bit of life drained out of us while we producing whatever they got us producing in a place so dirty that just breathing the air will burn your lips and peel your skin. He say, don't nobody get nothing free under Zook's gray skies, and that we bound to make up for all the resources we done took without paying. I don't want to believe it, but what if it's true?
North Seattle, Tuesday, August 6th, 2080, 6 p.m. Oscar Hayes. Oscar places a small red rock on a stack of papers on his desk. The air coming from the ventilation vent is full force, and it's still slightly warm inside the data mining center. Temperatures outside have topped 108 degrees Fahrenheit. It's so hot outside that cold water sizzles when it hits the concrete. Oscar watches the slow movement of the red district south on Highway 5, just a few miles north of the Barb stronghold. He frowns at the thought. Sometimes he wonders if Barbs are real, or if their propaganda and sabotage are the works of insiders. Either oranges and yellows, or even greens and blues working against Zook, working against him and his family and everyone who plays fair and by the rules. Maybe he shouldn't see Reds as problems, but as victims of a much more powerful force who want to use them as pawns. He huffs as the computer blares a warning and scrolls another ticker across the bottom of the screen. Resource balance required, the computer warns. Extraction consumption level imbalanced. Requires immediate attention. Yeah, right, got it. Oscar quickly dismisses the warning and the question to auto-rebalance. He adjusts the food and water from 50 to 30. He has a theory. Resource balance requirements may be so strict that Reds get tempted by the barbs, or whatever it is that's targeting them, and convince them to turn against a society that's done nothing but be good to them. This time we can do things a little differently.
Saying never again is not enough. Anonymous. South Seattle, Tuesday, August 6th, 2080, 11 p.m. Glimmer Robinson. Mom sent me to give Miss Cena a small umbrella today. I wedged the handle into the hollow end of a metal pole and fixed it so that all of Miss Cena's face would be protected from the setting sun. We sat like that together for a long time, talking as we ate. Zook didn't give us much for dinner. An old crusty slice of bread and cold soup, no meat. But I didn't mind much. Miss Zena shared a tin of fish she had stashed just in case. Spread across the bread, it was actually the best meal I'd done had in a long time. Miss Zena say when she was growing up, before Zook, her grandma would make fish almost every day, and in the summer they would pick apples off a tree in her yard. There ain't nothing like that around here. Not even in the green or blue zones do they got trees that give you fruit. It's against the law to grow fruit unless you got a license, and them kinds of things is hard to come by. The only place you might get a chance to see a fruit tree is working in the big gardens, and all that produce is for distribution. Always too pricey for districts like ours. But some folks like Miss Cena and even moms ain't got much respect for laws that keep them from growing food for their families. Miss Zena say ain't nobody got the right to keep a person separated from the earth that God done blessed us all with. So she kept a secret garden in a sunny corner of a back room, growing mostly tiny tomatoes. I ain't never tasted fruit as sweet as them tomatoes before. I guess that's finished now. A lot of things finished. A lot of things changed. I told Miss Cena what Ray said about the overworking and dying badly. She just shook her head and hissed at me about being too naive and gullible for my own good. She say anybody who got a head full of brains and not just air been done figured out that we march into our deaths and not a new life. Then she pulled me real close with a lot more strength than I was expecting in an old lady, and she whispered, "Save yourself, child. Don't die with us who too weak to fight back."
North Seattle, Wednesday, August 7th, 2080, 6 p.m. Oscar Hayes. Band disengaged. The ticker scrolls across the bottom of the screen. Oscar frowns. The red district's yellow population meter drops from 210 to 209. AWOLs don't happen. That's been the official line since Oscar began working as a data miner 8 years ago. But unofficially, there's been a drip exodus of deserters every year. Factory workers who failed to show for a late-night shift. Garden workers who slipped through the gaps in fences. School children who never return home from classes. These deserters rarely make the news, but data miners see the stats and they hear the rumors. Most call them deserters. Oscar sees them more like suicides. No bands, no life. No place to live, no job, no way to get food, no way for Zuck to know what you need, and no way to be coded blue, green, yellow, orange, or red. Nothing is possible without the band. Oscar sucks his teeth as he stares at the red dots. Just didn't have what it takes to be blue or even green, did you? Took the easy way out. Rather take your chances with the barbs, wouldn't you? No band, no protection, no real life worth living, but you don't care, do you? Who are you people anyway? Dots on a screen, faceless voices, snippets of thoughts and conversation? Oscar shakes his head. He's never known a red or anyone who's known a red. Sometimes he wonders if they really exist in the same way other humans exist. He's never seen a red's face. Even when they've committed a crime, they are a faceless monster on the news. Do they have a human face? Or are they really monsters? Oscar can only imagine them as such grotesque beasts that mere humans can't look upon them. Thank God for the band and the algorithm which keeps dangerous people away from citizens who play by the rules and play their part in a civilized society. Oscar's shoulder slowly released the tension he's been holding there. So lucky to be born a green, and maybe one day he and his family will become blues if they live the right kind of life. Although he's not 100% sure what living the right kind of life really means.
South Seattle, Wednesday, August 7th, 2080, 11 p.m. Glimmer Robinson. Ray is gone. Around about noon, it was raining real hard. Big sheets coming down, soaking our heads and everything we carrying. Can't see nothing, not even a few feet in front of you. Went on like that for a good hour. When it finished, the sun come up and Ray nowhere to be found. I thought maybe he's sheltering under one of the tarps Lil Bo bring, but he wasn't there. I thought he just searching for a bit more to eat since we didn't get breakfast nor lunch, but even after we settled down for the night, Ray was nowhere to be seen. The first thing I thought when I realized that Ray was gone is that he must have fallen over the edge of the highway somehow in all the chaos and commotion. I spent a long while walking along the concrete edge, looking down to see if I could spot his thin brown body lying in the overgrown grass below, but I didn't see nothing. The Zook guards all watched me with a smirk. What the hell do they think? That it's all a joke? I felt a big wave of sadness bury my throat and fill my head, and I was just about to drown in it all when I felt Lil Bo tugging on my shirt. I got the mind to spin around and yell at him, and then I had the meanest thought. Why couldn't Lil Bo disappear instead of Ray? But all them feelings just pull away when I look down and see Lil Bo with his hands raised, palms facing me. Ray left me a message. 2 circles and a bunch of inky dots looking like a path right there in Little Bo's palm.
North Seattle, Thursday, August 8th, 2080, 6 p.m. Oscar Hayes. Oscar tags the daily data triggers. Red, so hungry. Red, why is this happening to us? Red, I've got to get out of here. Red, we don't deserve this. The computer drones out the hourly update. District energy has dropped to subpar levels. Oscar frowns and types into the computer. The data trigger alerts are minimized and the right half of the screen is taken up by a chart filled with nutritional data, calcium, iron, potassium. Oscar is not surprised by the numbers. The district is under nutritional and energetic duress. Oscar shakes his head. In some ways he feels they deserve this, but do they? And is that his mission, to starve them out? Shouldn't the young who can't even decide for themselves have a chance? They just need a little boost just to get them through the next few days so they can have a chance to be reformed. Oscar types a code and a dialog box appears. Nutritional relief requires secondary authorization. Continue? Oscar clicks OK. A brusque voice emits from the intercom. What the hell are you doing? Oscar tenses. Sir? There's a resource imbalance, and you're stroking energy levels like it's a sad kitty? Yes, sir. I was hoping a boost would help the imbalance correct itself, sir. Well, it's not going to correct itself. We're not training goddamn monkeys over here, number 1619. We're keeping a ship from sinking. Oscar hates it when he calls him by his number. They've been working together all these years, and he can't even care to call him by his real name. Yes, sir. I think that you're not being paid to think, number 1619. You're being paid to code data. Sir, all due respect, I'm being paid to make district assessments, and my assessment is, at these energy levels, this district won't make it to the calming zone. There's the stretch of silence that feels like several seconds. Sir? Request denied. Keep focused on the task, number 1619. Mining data. Now get that horse saddled so we can get back in the race. But sir! The intercom crackles and goes dead. And the red district is just as good as dead, too, for the second time. And he doesn't even know who he's leaving to die.
South Seattle, Thursday, August 8th, 2080, 11 p.m. Glimmer Robinson. Someone was shot today. Noon come and not one of us had eaten a crumb. So when the line formed for a bite of food, folks got to pushing and shoving, just trying to get one step closer to the only meal they done had all day. And when Zooks start handing out bread rolls, folks go from pushing and shoving to grabbing and stealing. Even had grown folks yanking food out of the mouths of little kids. And when they go to take more from Zook guards than they was willing to share, the guards raise their guns with a warning. If you ask most folks if Zook is violent, they'll say yes, but it's never the kind of violence that folks scared of. Zooks don't got guns drawn to force your hand if you ain't a red. No roughing you up, no gunning you down. They got other, more sneaky ways to make you do as they say. So when the guards raise them guns, I don't think folks believe they'd actually shoot. They just continue on grabbing them rolls as they saw fit. That's when I heard it. 3 loud pops and then the screams. I turned to run, but my feet barely leave the ground. Legs so weak from walking 4 days that they just give out, and I found myself kneeling in a stream of blood. I hurried up and got to my feet. Folks was so jumped up with fright that they was crushing anyone who was in their way. I was lucky to get to my feet and stay there. The crowd pulled me along and away from the guards who were firing into the crowd. 3 pops, 2 pops, another 3 pops. And out of the corner of my eye, I see a gray-haired neighbor go over the side of the highway. There's a river below us, but I don't think this high up it matters much. You take a fall like that and you good as dead. After it was over and all the dead had been thrown into the river, we continued our march south. I check in on Miss Sina just to make sure she's still breathing. I found her, laying on a blanket in the hot sun, her face covered with sweat. She was holding a baby wearing a blood-stained jumper. The baby's mom died today, shot in the back while running away. So this is it? Not enough food, not enough water, and not enough medicine. Shooting ladies carrying babies? They don't mean for us to survive. Don't want us breathing for much longer. I'm not going to let them take that away from me. I want to survive. I want to live. I will live.
North Seattle, Friday, August 9th, 2080, 9 p.m., Oscar Hayes. It's dark on the road. The only things visible beneath the beam of the car's headlights are the faded road markers and the cracked asphalt overrun with weeds. Oscar's hands are tight on the steering wheel. This isn't exactly breaking the rules, but technically it's against the spirit of the rules. Data miners are allowed to assess physical locations to help them make sound judgments about how to code data. There's just one little catch. No one knows the real reason Oscar is making a site assessment. Nor do they know that he won't really be assessing the yellow district he's responsible for, but the red district that's just as good as dead. No one can see him. He's unplugged because he's on the clock, and Zook rarely monitors the back roads traveled by personnel only. But Oscar doesn't have much time. Only a few minutes to catch a glimpse of the Reds before he must return to his station. He slows down the car and makes a right turn into the crumbling concrete pathway beside an 8-story building that's nothing more than a burnt-out shell of itself. Over the years, districts have gone red and gone dead as population has moved to the calming zone. This is one of the dead districts. Oscar grabs the small black backpack on the passenger seat and gets out of the car. He quickly makes his way into the building and up the stairs. He stretches and leaps over the many missing steps when needed, ignoring the creaking and grumbling of the structure. This place was bombed 5 years ago, right after the district went red. His district, one he coded. Slightly out of breath, Oscar makes it to the top floor. Old Highway 5 is in the distance, just more than a stone's throw away. The dark, dilapidated structure is illuminated by small lamps and floodlights. Even in the distance, Oscar can make out Zook guards patrolling the perimeter, headlamps on their foreheads. He pulls a pair of binoculars from his backpack and presses them to his face. He's going to finally see the monsters. He adjusts the focus and slowly scans the scattered heaps of tents and cardboard and tarps. He stops. A blanket covered in purple flower stitching catches his eye. It's carefully draped over 2 stacks of worn-down luggage. This section of the highway is very dark, but he can just make out through the darkness the form of a child sleeping under a blanket. There's movement. Another child, older. There's a light, a flashlight. He can see them, the monsters. But they're not monsters at all. The teenage girl gently kisses the sleeping boy on the forehead. Then darkness.
South Seattle, Saturday, August 10th, 2080, 1 a.m. Glimmer Robinson. Flying. That's what it felt like when I go running through them tall grasses. It felt like I done grew wings and took off. I didn't say a proper goodbye to nobody. I just drunk in their faces one last time while they sleepin', and then I took off down the exit ramp. Not sure if Zook guards come after me, and I didn't take no time to look back. I just took off my band and start running in the direction that Ray's maps say. It was so dark, I didn't know where I was stepping. If there was a hole or trap or a big ocean, I could have fallen in, but I didn't. I didn't fall into nothing. After I get so winded that just breathing send me struggling and coughing, I find what looked like an old factory. Maybe one of the circles on the map? I wasn't too sure, but I went in there anyway and listened for anything in the darkness, but I didn't hear nothing. Just silence and the sound of rain starting to come down. For a while, I look up at the moon smiling down on me and giving the only light I seen all night. I was feeling guilty, but happy too. Guilty about leaving Moms and Papa and Lil Bo and Miss Cena behind, but happy to be living and breathing and having a chance at surviving. My clothes were so wet that every time I moved, they made a squishing sound and my throat was so parched that it hurt just to breathe. I decided to search the place for stuff to make a fire with. I was pushing through piles of trash when I noticed something out of place. A welcome mat surrounded by piles of old newspapers and small blocks of concrete that looked a bit too neat to be quite right. I lifted the mat and pushed the papers to the side, and that's when I saw it. A small bottle of water and a tin of baked beans in a clear plastic box, and in the corner of the box was some paper folded into the shape of a heart. It was a note. Don't be afraid. We are a friend. You've taken the first step to freedom. We're waiting for you.
It's not a massive leap to draw parallels between the pervasive and controlling social media platforms that rule the lives of the people in the real world and the Zukunft Azur, blue future of this story. Now that's a name that has been very deliberately chosen. We live in carefully curated enclaves, fed a diet of social content that has been tweaked and parameterized by algorithms designed mostly to fuel advertising revenues, clicks and engagement. There are no morals or ethics here, just echoes of what people want to hear, the things that fuel their own self-interest and reinforce existing hierarchies of power. Under-resourced social safety nets are crumbling, and blame is laid on those who are most in need. No, this story is not a million miles away from where we are now. This is a future created by apathy and naivety. It's not my problem. Why should I care? Into this mix, we have Oscar, the human element that supposedly brings fairness and understanding, a veneer that's paper-thin. Trying to do something right, but doing it within the existing system. Relying on the system to be fair, believing the system rewards those who follow rules and do what they're told. This is a lie told by so many different powers over the centuries. Our rules are harsh and intrusive, but if you're a good member of society, you have nothing to fear. Oscar is taught that the Reds are monsters, recidivists, not the children, families, innocents that he finally comes to see. That's a truth that he should have known all along, a truth he was hiding from, even as he crept closer to it. Glimmer has been living under a similar set of illusions, that oversight and intrusion are benevolent forces designed to protect and preserve, but, unlike Oscar, feels the full pressure of that tight fist around people's thoughts. It ain't right. But even so, for a long while she still trusts, in spite of the wrongness of everything around her, the excuses for broken promises, the hope that you're not in so dark a place as this, that other people still see you as people, not numbers, that you're going somewhere better, not somewhere to be quietly disposed of. Ms. Zena is old enough to remember her history. Zook and the band have stolen that from everyone else. What can we say to societies and structures like this? At what point does inaction become active complicity? How far along that road have we already walked? Something to think about, anyway. Join us again soon. We love bringing you the best audio fiction week after week, but we can't do it without your support. Your donations pay our authors, our narrators, our servers, and our staff. Please consider supporting us with a monthly donation through either PayPal or Patreon. You can also review us on Apple Podcasts, request us on Spotify, and consider the stories we publish for award consideration. There are lots of ways you can help. Join the discussion on the EA Forum, forum.escapeartist.net, or EA Discord. Visit on Twitter at Cast of Wonders. Come say hello. Cast of Wonders is a production of Escape Artists Incorporated and is brought to you by editor Catherine Inskip, associate editors Tanya Adelit, Amy Brennan, Alicia Caparaso, Joyce Hernandez, Somtoa Haseway, Cup Jacob, Amanda Kong, Ray O, Simon Pan, Samuel Poots, Emma Smales, Denise Siddell and Drin Yi. Our editorial assistant is Amy Brennan, our community manager is Denise Siddell, and our audio producer is Jeremy Carter. Our episodes are released under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License. That means you can download or listen to the episode on any device you like, but you can't change it or sell it. Our theme music is Appeal to Heavens by Alexei Nov, available from Promo DJ or his Facebook page. Thank you for listening.